The unexpected detection. The quantum listening post hung suspended in the vast emptiness of space, a crystalline structure that gleamed like a frozen tear against the backdrop of distant stars. Inside, Zora Krell adjusted her multi-spectrum sensory array, her 4 tentacle-like appendages moving with practiced precision across the control interface. Another monotonous shift at the edge of known space. The Galactic Monitoring Network considered this assignment a critical task, but in reality, it was little more than cosmic babysitting. Zara had been tracking this particular sector for cycles, watching primitive civilizations develop, tracking stellar migrations, logging the occasional space debris. Nothing ever happened. Until it did. The first anomaly appeared so subtly that Zara almost missed it. A ripple in the quantum background, a whisper of energy that didn't match any known transmission pattern. Her secondary sensory cluster tingled with anticipation. Something was different. Analysis protocol. She commanded the station's AI, her voice a melodic blend of clicks and harmonic tones. Holographic displays erupted around her, parsing the mysterious signal. Complex mathematical models danced in 3-dimensional space, breaking down each intricate wave pattern. The signal was old, incredibly old, with a complexity that suggested origins far beyond current technological understanding. A precursor signal. The implications were staggering. Precursor civilizations were legendary, mythical entities whose technological capabilities had transcended comprehension before mysteriously vanishing eons ago. Their rare artifacts and occasional transmission fragments were studied with religious reverence across multiple galactic cultures. But this signal was different. It wasn't just an artifact or a fragment. It was a full, coherent transmission, encrypted in a way that suggested it was never meant to be intercepted by anyone, least of all a monitoring station. Origin trace, Zara instructed, her excitement mounting. The AI worked furiously, its quantum processors spinning through millennia of data comparisons. Minutes passed like centuries. Then, unexpectedly, a result. The signal originated from a small, insignificant star system in an unremarkable spiral arm. Earth. A planet populated by a species so primitive they were barely classified as space-capable. Humans, a chaotic, fractured civilization, still arguing about their own planetary climate and political boundaries. They were conducting crude experiments with rocketry, their most advanced computers barely capable of complex calculations. And yet, somehow, they had detected a signal no one was supposed to hear. Zara's communication implant buzzed. Central Command needed an immediate report. Transmission analysis complete, the AI announced. Detecting unexpected quantum resonance. Anomalous response pattern identified. Show me, Zara demanded. The holographic display shifted, revealing something unprecedented. Not only had the humans detected the signal, but they were responding to it. Not with sophisticated scientific protocols or diplomatic approaches, but with something entirely unpredictable. They were matching the signal's complex encryption through what could only be described as creative intuition, where advanced civilizations would use precise mathematical algorithms. Humans were using something more fluid, more chaotic. They were solving an impossible puzzle by refusing to acknowledge it was impossible. Zara realized she was witnessing something monumental. This wasn't just a technological breakthrough. This was a fundamental reimagining of how intelligence could interact with complex systems. Her report to Central Command would change everything. The humans had no idea what they'd just done, but they had just announced themselves to a galaxy that was about to take a very careful, very concerned look at this strange, unpredictable species, and nothing would be the same again. Earth's unorthodox response. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stared at the computer screen, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. The signal they'd intercepted defied every known protocol of scientific communication. Most of her colleagues at the Advanced Quantum Research Center thought she was crazy, but something about this transmission felt different. Dr. Rodriguez, the mathematics don't make sense, her research assistant, Michael Chen, muttered, adjusting his glasses. This encryption is light years beyond our current understanding. Elena smiled. Exactly why we can't approach this traditionally. The signal had appeared 3 weeks ago, a complex pattern of quantum frequencies that seemed to pulse with an almost rhythmic intelligence. Most research teams would have spent months analyzing, preparing, calculating. But Elena and her team worked differently. Their approach was simple: curiosity without fear. "We're going to respond," she announced, much to Michael's horror. "Respond? With what? We don't even understand half the signal's components." Elena pulled up a series of complex mathematical models, interspersed with what looked like musical notation, and what Michael recognized as references to classic video game design patterns. "We'll respond with creativity." The research center had assembled an unlikely team. Quantum physicists worked alongside game designers, musicians, and mathematicians. Their approach was less about scientific precision and more about intuitive problem-solving. Dr. Akira Tanaka, a renowned quantum physicist with a secret passion for jazz composition, was particularly excited. "Look at these wave patterns," he explained, overlaying musical scales onto the quantum signal. "It's not just a transmission. It's almost like a cosmic musical challenge." Their response would become legendary in scientific circles, a transmission that combined advanced quantum mathematics, musical theory, and unexpected cultural references. Where traditional scientific approaches would have been methodical and precise, their response was improvisational and wildly creative. They essentially solved an impossible communication puzzle by treating it like an elaborate, galaxy-spanning puzzle game. What the team didn't realize was that their transmission was being monitored, not just by Earth's scientific institutions, but by something far more ancient and complex. Across vast interstellar distances, alien monitoring stations began to buzz with unprecedented activity. The humans hadn't just detected a signal. They had engaged with it in a way no civilization had ever done before. They had answered a message they were never meant to hear. And the galaxy was about to take notice. Galactic ripple effects. The Galactic Council chamber fell into stunned silence. Holographic displays flickered with intercepted human transmissions, each more bewildering than the last. Chancellor Vorax, a towering crystalline being representing the Zentari Confederation, slowly rotated his multifaceted form. His voice resonated with a mixture of concern and reluctant admiration. "They did what?" Ambassador Lyra Thax pulled up the detailed transmission logs. "A species barely capable of interplanetary travel has not only detected a classified precursor signal, but responded to it with what can only be described as creative chaos." The council members represented dozens of advanced civilizations, each with millennia of technological progression, strict scientific protocols, and carefully managed first contact procedures. Humans represented everything they were not: unpredictable, emotional, seemingly governed by impulse rather than careful calculation. "They used music," said Research Director Zen, his tentacles writhing with frustration. "Mathematical encryption combined with what appears to be a complex musical composition. It's as if they solved a quantum communication challenge by treating it like an elaborate game." The human transmission defied every known principle of interstellar communication. Where sophisticated civilizations would approach an unknown signal with caution, mathematical precision, and layers of protective protocols, humans had responded with something entirely different: creativity, intuition, a complete disregard for established rules. "We cannot ignore this," Chancellor Vorax declared. "The precursor beacon has already begun transmitting preliminary data packets to Earth. Our containment protocols are failing." Ambassador Thax pulled up additional surveillance footage. Humans were already beginning to experiment with the received technological fragments in ways that simultaneously impressed and terrified the Council. A research team in Brazil had integrated part of the alien transmission into what they called a quantum music generator. A group of engineers in Japan was using fragments of the signal to develop new energy transmission technologies. In the United States, a team of physicists and game designers were collaborating on something they called interdimensional problem solving. They're treating advanced alien technology like a complex puzzle, Zen observed, a hint of grudging respect in his voice. No established protocols. No fear of the unknown. The implications were profound. Humans weren't just receiving advanced technology. They were reimagining it, breaking it apart, and reconstructing it through a lens of pure, unbridled creativity. Recommendation. Chancellor Vorax asked, turning to the assembled experts. The responses were varied. Some suggested immediate containment. Others proposed observation. A few, the more radical members, suggested engagement. We need to understand them, Ambassador Cathax finally said, not control them. These humans, they're different. Little did they know, humans were about to prove just how different they could be. Technological leap. The world changed overnight. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood in the massive research complex, surrounded by equipment that looked like it had been designed by a child who'd raided both a physics laboratory and a video game arcade. Fragments of alien technology transformed into something entirely new, pulsed with an impossible energy. We're not just reverse engineering, she explained to a group of international observers. We're reimagining. Global scientific institutions had initially been skeptical. Military organizations were terrified. But as the first wave of discoveries emerged, everything changed. The alien signal wasn't just a transmission. It was a complex invitation to understand the universe differently. In Beijing, a team of quantum researchers discovered they could manipulate gravitational fields by combining the alien signal's mathematical patterns with complex musical algorithms. Their first successful experiment created a localized gravity manipulation field that could lift objects without traditional mechanical force. A laboratory in Nairobi developed a communication protocol that could transmit information faster than light, not through conventional quantum entanglement, but by essentially folding space using principles extracted from the alien transmission. The breakthrough came when a young researcher realized the signal's encryption was more like a cosmic game of musical chairs than a traditional mathematical code. Silicon Valley startups went into overdrive, where traditional tech companies would have approached the alien technology with careful, measured steps. These teams treated it like the ultimate hackathon challenge. They broke apart the signal, rebuilt it, and created technologies that defied previous understanding. An energy research team in Mumbai developed a power generation system that could extract energy directly from quantum fluctuations. Their breakthrough came when they stopped trying to understand the technology scientifically and started treating it like an elaborate puzzle game. The global scientific community watched in a mixture of horror and fascination. Humans weren't just receiving advanced technology. They were transforming it, breaking it, rebuilding it in ways no established civilization had ever conceived. International collaborations emerged spontaneously. A physicist in Russia would collaborate with a game designer in Brazil. A musician in Japan would work with a mathematician in Canada. The alien signal had become a global puzzle that transcended traditional boundaries. We're not trying to understand their technology, Elena told a gathering of international science ministers. We're learning to speak their language of possibility. What they didn't realize was that somewhere in the vast darkness of space, alien civilizations were watching. And they were beginning to understand that humanity represented something entirely unprecedented. A species that didn't just adapt to new technologies, a species that reimagined what technology could be. First contact preparations. The first official alien diplomatic vessel entered Earth's solar system with more caution than any previous interstellar mission. Ambassador Zara Krell, the same monitoring officer who first detected the human signal, now led the most unprecedented first contact mission in galactic history. Their ship was a marvel of technological sophistication, a living, quantum-adaptive vessel that could modify its entire structure based on environmental conditions. Yet as they approached Earth, the vessel's advanced AI began reporting increasingly bizarre readings. "They're tracking us," the ship's communication officer reported, confusion evident in her voice. But not through any standard surveillance method. Indeed, humans had already developed a complex network of observation systems that combined advanced alien technology with their own creative adaptations, satellite networks, quantum entanglement communication arrays, and a global information sharing platform that seemed to anticipate the alien approach. On Earth, an international first contact team had been assembled, but not in the way any alien civilization would have expected. It wasn't just scientists and diplomats. The team included game designers, musicians, artists, and what could only be described as professional problem solvers. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, now the lead coordinator for extraterrestrial engagement, reviewed the final preparations. "We're not just preparing for a diplomatic meeting," she told her team. "We're preparing for a cultural exchange that will redefine what first contact means." The global response was equally unprecedented. Social media platforms buzzed with speculation and creativity. Online communities developed elaborate first contact protocols that were equal parts serious scientific speculation and wild imagination. Millions participated in global thought experiments about potential alien communication strategies. In Geneva, the United Nations had transformed its headquarters into a complex, adaptive communication center. Quantum translation devices developed from the alien signal worked alongside human linguists, musicians, and mathematicians to create a communication platform that was part science, part art. "They're approaching," announced Dr. Michael Chen, tracking the alien vessel's trajectory. "But nothing about their approach matches any standard first contact protocol we've studied." The alien ship's communication began. A complex transmission that would have been incomprehensible to any other species. But humans didn't just receive the transmission. They responded immediately, transforming the alien language into a complex musical mathematical dialogue that left the alien crew stunned. They weren't just receiving a message. They were engaging in a cosmic conversation that defied all established rules of interstellar communication. Somewhere between mathematics, music, and pure imagination, humanity was about to make first contact in the most human way possible. The convergence, the moment of first contact, defied every expectation of both humans and aliens. Ambassador Zara Krell's vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere, its quantum-adaptive exterior shimmering with colors that seemed to dance between reality and imagination. The landing site, carefully chosen through complex diplomatic negotiations, was a neutral location in the heart of the Swiss Alps. But neutrality was the last thing anyone experienced. As the ship touched down, instead of a formal diplomatic reception, they were greeted by something entirely unexpected. A massive, improvised welcome celebration that blended scientific precision with pure human creativity. Holographic displays created by a team of artists and quantum physicists projected intricate mathematical patterns that synchronized with a live musical performance. Musicians played instruments modified with alien technology, creating sounds that seemed to bridge multiple dimensional frequencies. "We're not just welcoming you," Dr. Elena Rodriguez announced through the translation system. "We're inviting you to understand us." The alien delegation was confused. Where were the formal protocols, the carefully prepared speeches, the rigid structure of first contact? Instead, they found themselves in the middle of what could only be described as a global celebration of possibility. Young scientists demonstrated technologies that combined alien signals with human creativity. A team from Brazil showed how they developed a medical diagnostic tool that used quantum resonance frequencies discovered in the original alien transmission. Another group from Japan presented an energy generation system that could extract power from quantum fluctuations, a technology that seemed to blur the lines between science and art. Ambassador Krell realized something profound. Humans weren't just receiving alien technology. They were reimagining it entirely. "You solved a message," Krell said during the initial discussions. "That wasn't meant to be solved." Elena smiled. "We don't see barriers. We see puzzles waiting to be reimagined." The galactic community watched in stunned silence. Humanity had not just made first contact, they had redefined what first contact could mean. They approached an advanced civilization not with fear or subservience, but with unbridled curiosity and creativity. As negotiations continued, it became clear that humans represented something entirely new in the galactic landscape, a species that didn't just adapt to new technologies, but transformed them. A civilization that saw the universe not as a fixed system, but as an ongoing creative challenge. The signal that was never meant to be heard had announced humanity's arrival on the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again. Would you like me to create the SEO-optimized YouTube title and description as requested in the original prompt?